Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are diving deep into the Grand Line, chapter by chapter, and today we've hit chapter 226, Noland the Liar.
And this chapter opens on a mystery. Back in Mocktown, there's talk of a powerful, beautiful woman who just dismantled an entire bar full of pirates while asking about a man named Cricket.
A powerful, beautiful woman with mysterious powers, you say? I am intrigued. The pirates are all terrified, talking about how she made arms and legs sprout all over their bodies. It's got a real horror movie vibe to it. And this mysterious figure is asking about a local outcast, a man who apparently has gold, and Bellamy, the hyena himself, just overheard it all. Things are about to get real complicated on Jaya, and if you want to be here for every single piece of the puzzle as it clicks into place, make sure you're following the show. You don't want to miss where this goes.
It's a classic setup. The whispers and the aftermath of an unseen event, building a legend before we even know who we're talking about. Oda is seeding the plot points beautifully here. But before we get to that, let's start on the Going Merry, where things are already complicated enough.
Right. So Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are back on the ship, and they are messed up, just completely thrashed. Usopp and Chopper see them and freak out, naturally. The panels of their faces are just perfect. Usopp's eyes are budding out of his head, and Chopper looks like he's about to have a full-on medical emergency just from the shock.
Chopper immediately screams, "Doctor!"
And Usopp just slaps him upside the head and goes, "You're the doctor." It's such a perfect panicked crew moment. I love it. Even in a crisis, they are exactly themselves. It's that gallows humor, that frantic energy that only the Straw Hats have. Chopper's immediate instinct is to call for help for an adult, and Usopp has to literally smack the sense back into him that he is the expert they need right now.
It speaks to Chopper's youth and his lingering insecurity. He's a brilliant doctor, but in moments of pure panic, he still reverts to being the frightened child who needs guidance. It's an endearing and very real character trait.
Totally. Chopper gets to work, patching up Luffy and Zoro's wounds. He's got the little stethoscope out, he's wrapping bandages, he's in full doctor mode now. And Usopp is trying to get the story, grilling them, asking what happened, who did this to them. He's furious, ready to go fight someone on their behalf. But Luffy and Zoro just brush it off. It's over, nothing to worry about. It's that classic Luffy-Zoro dynamic. They are so in sync on this. They took a beating, but in their minds, they won the encounter because they chose not to fight. They didn't lower themselves to that level. To them, engaging with Bellamy was the real defeat.
There's a profound understanding between them in that moment. They both recognize that Bellamy's worldview was so antithetical to their own that violence was pointless. Fighting him would be validating his belief that might makes right, that dreams can be measured by bounties. By absorbing the punishment without retaliating, he made his entire philosophy look hollow and childish.
Exactly. It's like a lion doesn't concern himself with the opinion of sheep, you know? Or in this case, a hyena. But Nami doesn't see it that way at all. She is vibrating with rage. Usopp points out she's the only one who isn't hurt, so why is she the angriest? He just does not get it. He's looking at it from a purely physical standpoint. Like, you're fine. What's your problem?
Which is a perfectly logical question from his perspective. But Nami's wounds aren't physical. They're ideological. They're wounds to her pride, her ambition, and her belief in the very nature of their journey.
That's the core of it, right? It's not about the physical damage. Chopper, all innocent, just trying to get them back on track, asks if they got any information about Sky Island, and Nami just slowly turns, this dark aura coming off her, and glares at him. The panel is just a close-up on her eyes, and they are terrifying. You can practically feel the barometric pressure dropping around her.
The look on her face is pure demonic fury. Oda is a master of these visual gags that perfectly convey a character's emotional state. Chopper is so scared he eats a rumble ball and goes into guard point just to defend himself from Nami's anger. He's not expecting a punch, he's expecting her rage to manifest as a physical force of nature.
And Usopp pulls out a ketchup star and squirts it on his chest to play dead. That's how you know it's serious. When Usopp's go-to move is feigning his own death, Demon Nami is officially out. It's hilarious, but it also shows how well they know each other. They know this isn't just Nami being cranky. This is a deep foundational anger, and they are rightly terrified of it.
She finally explodes. She talks about how everyone in that bar, everyone in Mocktown, laughed at them. They laughed at the idea of a sky island, at their dream, and she asks, voice shaking with fury, "Did I say something that funny?" The rawness of that line is so powerful.
And that hits so hard, because for Nami, this isn't just a random adventure. This is about proving the impossible is possible. Her entire life has been about charting the unchartable, making sense of a chaotic world through maps. The log post is pointing up. That's a scientific fact to her. To have that fact, that dream, openly mocked by a town full of cynics, that's a deeper wound than anything Bellamy's goons could land. It's a personal attack on her intelligence and her life's work.
It's a direct attack on the very concept of adventure and romance that drives them. They're in the Grand Line, the Sea of Dreams, and they've landed on an island where everyone has given up on them. It's the antithesis of everything they stand for. Think back to characters like Dr. Kureha, who spoke of the will of D and the romance of history, or even Krieg, who was defeated, but still had the ambition to conquer the Grand Line. Mocktown has none of that. It's a black hole for ambition.
It's the perfect foil for the Straw Hats. They are the living embodiment of chasing an impossible dream, and they just ran face first into an island that kills dreams for a living. And Luffy and Zoro understood that. They knew fighting back would be pointless. It would be accepting Bellamy's terms, his reality. But Nami can't see that yet. Her anger is so valid because from her perspective, they let the dream itself get disrespected. She connects this mockery to what Arlong did. He tried to crush her dream, her spirit, by force. Bellamy's crew is trying to do it with cynicism. To Nami, it's the same evil in a different package.
And that is the fundamental difference between her and Luffy in this moment. Luffy's dream of being Pirate King is so absolute, so core to his being, that mockery can't touch it. It's like throwing pebbles at a mountain. For Nami, her dream is something she is actively building, piece by piece, map by map. An attack on its possibility feels like an attack on the entire foundation she's building her new life on.
It's just so good. Oda is layering the theme of this arc so perfectly. It's not about who can punch harder. It's about whose will, whose dream is stronger, whose reality wins out, the cynics or the dreamers.
And while the crew is dealing with Nami's existential crisis, they're interrupted. The emotional tension is broken by the arrival of the Bizarre.
Yeah, a new ship pulls up. It's got this weird speaker system on the front, and Luffy, Sanji, and Usopp are all just staring at it. Usopp is trying to convince them that he really did see the salvage guys from before, the Masira pirates, but Luffy's already moved on. His attention span is 0. He's just fascinated by this new weirdo. The ship itself looks like it was cobbled together from junk. It's perfect.
And this weirdo is Shoujo. He's got this wild, orange, ape-like hair that covers his entire face except for his mouth, and he's holding a microphone.
He's using some kind of search sonar to scan the water.
And he's just yelling gibberish into a microphone.
His sonar also picks up the Mary. He pulls alongside, and he and Luffy just stare at each other. It's this silent, tense moment between two complete oddballs.
And Luffy, in his perfectly blunt way, just looks at this guy's face and asks, "What species are you?"
The sheer lack of filter is incredible. There's no malice in it, just genuine curiosity. But of course, Shoujo is so offended. He screams back, "I'm a Homo sapiens sapiens, you dumbass!"
Which is just the funniest, most needlessly specific thing to yell at somebody. I love him already. He didn't just say he was human, he went for the full scientific classification. It's so extra. His crew is all panicked, telling Luffy not to make the boss mad, but Shoujo tries to play it cool. He's got this massive ego. He immediately starts bragging, trying to establish dominance. He says he's on the same level as Crocodile, a warlord they very recently defeated, and that people are even trying to recruit him to be one of the 7 warlords.
Which is the most obvious, pathetic lie I have ever heard in my life. And Luffy's response is perfect. He doesn't call him a liar. He doesn't even seem impressed. He just goes, "Oh, so you want to be a warlord, huh?" Just completely deflating the guy's entire ego with one casual, non-judgmental question. It's like Shoujo is playing poker and Luffy's playing Go Fish. They're not even in the same conversation.
It drives Shoujo crazy. He's trying to find anything to impress them, to make them fear him, so he shouts that he hasn't cut his hair in 25 years.
And Luffy just says, that's just stupid. It's beautiful. It's not an insult. It's a simple, logical conclusion from Luffy's point of view. Why would you do something impractical and dumb like that? That's the thing about Luffy. He doesn't operate on the same logic as these guys. Bragging, posturing, territory, none of it matters to him. He just cuts right through the nonsense.
Having been thoroughly undermined, Shoujo finally gets down to business. He claims the area is his territory and demands a toll to pass. This sounds familiar.
Exactly. The crew immediately points out that's the same thing Masira said. And when Shoujo asks what they know about Masira, Luffy just casually says, "Oh, we kicked him away." He says it with no emotion, just a statement of fact, like he's talking about swatting a fly.
And that's the trigger. Shoujo loses it. His whole demeanor changes. He reveals that Masira is his brother.
The Salvage Brothers. It's all coming together. Masira, the Salvage King, and now Shoujo, the Sonar King. This is a whole family of weirdo salvagers who've carved up this piece of the sea. I love that so much. It makes the world feel bigger, more connected. It's not just random encounters. There are relationships and territories and family squabbles, even among these minor antagonists. It's super world building.
Luffy tries to explain that Masira isn't dead, he just got punted into the horizon, but Shoujo is too enraged to listen. He declares he'll get revenge for his brother. He's completely gone off the deep end over a misunderstanding.
And he unleashes his big attack, the Havoc Sonar. He screams into his microphone and this massive sonic blast just erupts from his ship. The sound waves are visualized as these huge concentric circles of force. It's a really cool looking attack.
A sound-based attack. That's a new type of power we haven't really seen before. I don't think it's a devil fruit. It seems technological or perhaps a unique biological ability related to his species, whatever he may actually be. It's an interesting expansion of the power systems in this world.
It's definitely powerful. The sound wave is so strong it completely shreds his own ship. His masts snap, his sails rip to confetti, his crew gets blown away. It's absolute chaos. He's so overcome with rage that he unleashes his full power without any thought for the consequences.
Sanji is just looking at the wreckage, completely bewildered, asking what the heck he's even doing. It's the voice of reason in a sea of madness. He's just watching this guy destroy his own property out of sheer incompetence.
But Luffy is just watching with stars in his eyes. He just says, that power is pretty awesome. He has such a pure, childlike appreciation for cool, destructive abilities, no matter who is using them, even if they're a complete doofus who just destroyed their own vessel in a fit of pique. It's so perfectly in character for him.
The attack is so powerful, it starts damaging the Mary, too. The waves are rocking them, the sound is vibrating through the wood, and suddenly Usopp realizes they're in the blast zone.
And the panic is back on. Just as quickly as the weird standoff started, it's over, and now they're just trying not to get sunk by the collateral damage from this idiot's revenge tantrum. The whole crew is screaming, running around trying to secure the ship.
And with that, Nami seems to have snapped out of her rage. The immediate life-threatening danger brings her back to the present. The crew is relieved that Demon Nami is gone, at least for now, replaced by Navigator Nami, who's focused on survival.
It's such a Straw Hat sequence, a moment of deep thematic reflection on the nature of dreams, followed by a confrontation with a bizarre new enemy who looks like a glam rock orangutan, which ends with everyone screaming in panic as their ship nearly gets destroyed by accident. That's the rhythm of their lives on the Grand Line.
Okay, but the chapter doesn't end there. It cuts back to Mocktown, and this might be the most important part of the whole chapter.
100%. This is where it all clicks. The pirates in the bar are still talking about what just happened. They're nursing their wounds, describing a strong, beautiful woman with strange powers who single-handedly beat up everyone. It sounds like she used some bizarre ability on them.
A woman who was asking for a man named Mont Blanc Cricket.
Wait a minute. Strong, beautiful, strange powers, asking for information. Robin, is that... It has to be our Robin. She's been off on her own this whole time, not just sightseeing, but gathering intel. While Luffy and Zoro were taking a stand by doing nothing, Robin was out there making moves.
One has to be productive with their time. She understands that information is as powerful as any punch. She heard them get laughed out of town, so she went back in by herself and found the one name they needed by applying a more direct line of inquiry.
That's our girl. She just walks into a hornet's nest of pirates, flips the place upside down, gets the info, and walks out. No fuss, just pure, terrifying efficiency. She's so cool. This is the first time we've really seen her operate as a Straw Hat on their behalf, and it is awesome. She's not just a passenger, she's a one-woman intelligence agency.
But think about the name, Mont Blanc Cricket. The pirates mention that he's a laughingstock, an outcast who lives on the other side of the island. They call him a disgrace, and they connect him to the old story of Noland the Liar.
The title of the chapter. Oh man, here we go. I feel like I've heard that name before, from a storybook, right? It was a really old tale, I think. It sounds so familiar.
If I'm remembering right, it's a famous children's story, I think, from the North Blue. It's about an explorer from way back, maybe 400 years ago, named Mont Blanc Noland. The legend goes that he claimed to have found a city of gold on the Grand Line, but when he brought his king to see it, the island had vanished. The king was furious and had Noland executed as a liar. It's like a fairy tale used to teach kids not to lie.
So this guy, Cricket, is likely a descendant of Noland, a descendant of the greatest liar in history, and he's living on Jaya, the island where Noland's supposed city of gold was. That's too much of a coincidence. That's a date with destiny.
Exactly. He's not just some random guy who knows about Sky Islands. He's connected to the most famous legend about a lost city. His entire family line has been cursed by this story for 400 years. He might be the only person in the world who has a personal, generational stake in proving that Noland was telling the truth. He's the key.
And Robin found him. She found the key. While everyone else was getting distracted by the thugs in Mocktown, Robin was playing chess. She heard the name of the island was Jaya. She must have known the legend of Noland, and she put two and two together. She didn't go looking for Sky Island info. She went looking for a connection to the legend. Incredible.
But there's a dark side to this. The pirates she beat up also mentioned something else in their fearful chatter. They said that Cricket, the laughingstock, recently found some of that legendary gold.
No way. Don't say it. My stomach just dropped.
And Bellamy, sitting right there at a table, nursing a drink and listening to it all, heard every word. The chapter ends with his face, that smug, predatory grin spreading across his lips, as he asked the other pirates to tell him more about this gold.
Oh, that's bad. That's really, really bad. We just established that Bellamy represents the new age of pirates who mock dreams. He literally just gave a speech about how the age of dreamers is over. And now he's just found out that a dreamer, an outcast living on the edge of his town, might be sitting on a pile of gold.
The very thing Noland was called a liar for. If Cricket has found proof, tangible, golden proof, it changes everything. It vindicates his ancestor. But Bellamy doesn't care about the proof or the dream. He just cares about the gold. He sees it as a payday, not as a piece of history.
This is the collision course. It's not just going to be Straw Hats versus Bellamy anymore. It's going to be a race to Cricket, a race to the truth of Skypiea. And Bellamy is a man who will burn down a 400-year-old dream just to get a piece of gold. He's the embodiment of the cynicism that executed Noland in the first place.
This raises the stakes of the entire arc. It's no longer just about the Straw Hat's personal adventure to get to the sky. It's about protecting a man's legacy and his lifelong dream from those who would destroy it for profit.
Man, Oda is a master. He takes all these separate threads, the crew getting beaten up, the introduction of the goofy Salvage Brothers, Robin's solo mission, and ties them all together with one name, Mont Blanc Cricket. And suddenly, everything is about to explode. It's a perfect chapter ending.
Before we get to predictions, Oda's author comment this week was about a song called Family being included on a One Piece album.
Oh, that's awesome. He says the producer is running all over the place trying to get as many people as possible to hear it. That's just a cool little peek behind the curtain. It's not just the manga. There's a whole team of people who love this story and are putting their passion into it, making music and everything else. It makes you appreciate the whole project. And the theme of family is so central to the Straw Hats. It's a perfect fit.
It really does. It feels like a family. A very large, very passionate family bringing this world to life.
Perfectly said. All right, so with Bellamy now hunting for Cricket and his gold, this next chapter is going to be critical. It really makes you wonder who this Cricket guy is and what he's been doing all this time.
Let's do predictions. What do you have for chapter 227?
Okay, prediction 1. The Straw Hats are going to find Cricket's house next chapter, and it's going to be some kind of ridiculous, cobbled-together mansion that looks like it's half sinking into the sea. This guy is an outcast and a dreamer. His home is going to reflect that. I'm picturing diving bells, salvage cranes, and parts of old ships all welded together. It won't be a normal house.
I like that. A house built on a dream, literally and figuratively. My first prediction is that when they meet Cricket, he will look almost identical to the pictures of Nolan from the storybook. The family resemblance will be undeniable, perhaps even down to his signature hairstyle, which I'm picturing as being shaped like a chestnut. It will be an immediate visual confirmation of the connection for the audience.
Ooh, a chestnut head. Good one. Okay, my second prediction. Bellamy's crew won't wait. They are going to show up at Cricket's place at the exact same time as the Straw Hats, or just moments after. We are not going to get a quiet chapter of exposition. The conflict is coming, and it's coming now. Odo loves to have those moments where a peaceful explanation is violently interrupted.
That feels right for the pacing of this arc. The tension is too high for a delay. Okay, my second prediction. We will learn that the reason Cricket is an outcast is not just because he's Nolan's descendant, but because he's been diving into the sea, searching for the sunken city of gold himself. That's how he found the artifacts. He's been living his ancestors' dream, or nightmare, spending years searching the seabed for something everyone believes is a lie.
And that's why the other pirates think he's nuts. He's a deep-sea diver on an island of surface-level thugs. Oh, that's solid. I love that. Okay, my final prediction. Shoujo isn't done. He's furious. He's just had his ship wrecked, and he blames the Straw Hats. He's going to repair his ship just enough to follow the Mary, and he'll be the one who inadvertently leads Bellamy's crew to Cricket's location on the other side of the island. He'll be the chaotic third party that complicates everything.
An unwilling informant. That's a very plausible way to connect those two plot lines. My final prediction is a bit more specific. When they talk to Cricket, he will be the one to tell them about the knock-up stream. He won't just know about Skypiea, he'll know the exact insane sea current-based phenomenon they need to ride to get there. He'll give them the final, impossible piece of the puzzle, confirming that the path to a sky island is just as ridiculous as everyone in Mocktown believes.
And that's a wrap on chapter 226. The race for the truth of the City of Gold is on. This has been Inherited Dawn. Join us next time as we hopefully meet the man himself, Mont Blanc Cricket.
Until then, keep chasing your dreams, no matter who laughs.